These are the top 3 things that I wish that I knew before I started homesteading, Urban Edition. Maybe I was told, but maybe I didn't really believe it. But the first thing that I wish that I would have learned is that growing your own food in any shape, size, or form is usually not going to save you any money. I know that that's hard to hear, but for me, I live in the city, and so the small amount of property that I have, I am not actually saving any money growing my own food or having my own chickens. That's something that I went into this dream, is to be able to grow all my own food so I knew where it was coming from. I knew what was being fed to it. The store eggs, they kind of make me sick. So knowing that there's good feed going to the chickens and having a humane place to live, that was important to me. However, in the back of my mind, I was thinking oh, for sure, we'll totally save money because we don't have to go to the store and pay $5 for a dozen of eggs. But in all reality, the time that it takes, the amount of money that we're spending on food, or the amount of time that it takes for me to garden, to run my water, to buy the seeds, just all of the things that go into growing your own food. For me, on our small property, I'm not actually saving any money. If anything, I'm bleeding money. We are spending more to grow our own food than we would be to just go buy it from the store. The number one thing that I wish I would have been told is that living on such a small property, that I would never regain the cost that I've put out. The second thing that I wish I would have been told, doing this urban homesteading thing, we live in a very old neighborhood in the middle of town, and there aren't any HOAs or anything like that. However, most of the neighbors on our street are very dead set in the traditional American green grass and manicured landscapes. Something that I have felt from my neighbors, and a few of them have come over and asked or mentioned oh yeah, you've got a lot of weeds, or oh yeah, you should probably mow your lawn. They want their property to look manicured and perfect, and they don't have any interest in growing their own food anymore. Many of them did before, but they did it in their backyard. For me, my front yard is south facing, so that just made perfect sense. And then that way my kids can still play in the backyard and have plenty of space to run around. I mean, there have been some good comments from bystanders just walking on the sidewalk, but most of it is why would you put a garden in your front yard? It's not very understandable to the community. And so just knowing that it's never gonna look pretty during the winter time when everything is dead and covered up with a layer of paper or burlap sacks or a big pile of leaves. It's not gonna look very pretty, but I'm okay with that. I just didn't realize that it would affect my neighbors as much as it does. I mean, there's this guy that lives across the road that has replanted his grass 3 times since we've been here, and he is very meticulous about his grass being green, a certain length, and more power to you, man. But that's not what I want for my house and my property. So I guess I wish I would have known what that looks like to have a garden in my front yard and how that would affect my neighbors, and even just the value of their property. I can't say that I've really improved the value of their property by having this garden in my front yard. So maybe I should have taken a poll first. But anything I do on my property, because we are so close to our neighbors, definitely affects them more than if we were rural or living out in the country where you have everybody kind of does their own thing and has their own land. My property directly affects everybody that is around me. So I wish I would have known that when I started. And I don't know that I would have done it any differently, but I wish I would have known to prepare for such comments as like, you know, you've got a lot of dandelions, here's some tools to get rid of them, or, you know, just like them trying to be helpful, but really they're just wanting me to make my lawn look like theirs. So just being so close to everybody, I get a lot of like people seeing what we're doing and it directly affecting them. And I wish that I would have known about that. I wish I would have known how close to the creator of the world I would feel when I'm outside with my hands in the dirt. I think if I would have known that it would be another opportunity for me to experience God in a new way, I would have started a lot earlier than I did. So when I am outside in my yard garden, in my front yard garden, and I'm just kind of like, the sun is like beating down on my face, if I see a hummingbird, or if I, you know, feel the dirt between my fingers, if I see a little seedling just barely poking through, it like brings a breath of fresh air to my soul in a way that I didn't realize that I would appreciate. The different animals, the different way that plants grow, the needs that they have. It's just very parallel to like spiritual life. And I think had I known how much of an impact that it would have had on me spiritually, I would have started much earlier, and I would have made it more of like a priority. And so the third thing is not even a bad thing. I really do enjoy being outside in any way, shape, or form. I love going on hikes. I love just being outside. And so knowing that like a lot of the homesteading stuff takes place outside, it feeds my soul. Yes, sometimes it's a chore, but when I choose to go do those chores, my soul, it breathes. It like is grateful for the opportunity to work hard and to see God in all of those things. And so I think if I would have been told that I would experience God in those ways, I would have started a lot sooner. Thanks to Homesteady for starting this. It's been interesting to watch everybody's reasons, and a lot of them are just different, and that's cool.